TV host Ellen DeGeneres left the United States weeks before the official Jeffrey Epstein files were released, and Katt Williams is now revealing claims about how she may have been linked to Ghislaine Maxwell. It is said Epstein had a contact in Hollywood, and new reports suggest Ellen filled that role.
Her stories have changed so many times about what happens, when it happens, how it happens, with different versions. And each time she speaks, there's a different version.
And that is from the documentary that's just aired in the United States. That's come just off the satellite. For more, we're joined by US broadcaster Cooper Lawrence to dissect it. What did you make of Ghislaine Maxwell?
It reminded me of Nobody Taught Me How to Curtsy and I Didn't Inhale. There was a lot of this evidence that came out during the trial that suddenly she's like, no, it's fake. I mean, during the trial, they showed her that photo and she said, yeah, that's me. That's my apartment. I recognize it. And, it was one of the things that indicted her. Now suddenly it's a fake photograph.
On June 28, 2022, Ghislaine Maxwell was given a 20-year sentence in federal prison for working with Jeffrey Epstein in crimes involving exploitation, along with a $750,000 fine. At the time she was taken into custody, Ghislaine was acting as a recruiter for Epstein, helping him find more victims. She was found guilty on 5 charges tied to her involvement in recruiting and transporting underage girls for abuse between 1994 and 2004. Around the same period, Ellen DeGeneres ended her show after facing claims of a toxic work environment and then stepped away from public life entirely.
Ellen DeGeneres and her wife Portia de Rossi have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said, Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
They're losing their minds.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia.
Bit of
could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites.
All of this might still be dismissed as coincidence. However, around the same time, the death of Stephen Twitch Boss, who was one of Ellen DeGeneres' closest colleagues, raised more questions. His passing happened shortly after Ellen reportedly moved to the UK and noticeably changed her appearance. Twitch, who worked as the executive producer on her show, died by suicide. In a note that was said to be left behind, he expressed that he could no longer remain part of what he described as a troubling industry and said sorry for disappointing others. He did not share specific details, but he mentioned feeling overwhelmed and guilty for keeping quiet for so long.
We're learning more tonight about the tragic side of Stephen Twitch Boss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach him. The motel manager says he checked in under his own name and never left his room. We also now know that Twitch left suicide note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in the past. Entertainer Tyler Perry knows firsthand what that is like.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best part of my life.
This doesn't seem like a coincidence. Ellen DeGeneres ended her show after Ghislaine Maxwell received her sentence and reportedly left when she felt she might get pulled into the situation. Katt Williams has said that nothing in Hollywood happens by chance. It's hard to believe someone would walk away from a show earning hundreds of millions each year without a serious reason. Ellen appeared to be afraid.
For the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing. See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses.
But think about what you just think about what you just said. That's extremely thoughtful and powerful. It could only be what it was if it were those two. Those two, yes. Will Smith and Chris Rock. It could only be what it has been with those two black men.
If you put any...
As more files linked to Jeffrey Epstein continue to come out, some viewers have started revisiting the Ellen DeGeneres show and pointing out what they see as unsettling similarities between certain jokes on the show and stories connected to Epstein's private island. Some legal documents mention topics like genetics, reproduction, and long-term legacy, with figures such as Peter Nygaard also being brought into related discussions. Because of this, people are now taking a closer look at the kind of ideas and themes that were occasionally highlighted on Ellen's show.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the serum.
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Perry? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
Other public figures were said to be involved in similar actions. According to some critics, Hollywood may have been part of a wider effort to make this kind of behavior seem acceptable. On March 20, 2016, Steve Harvey spoke with Michelle Park, an Emmy-winning NBC host, who discussed a popular anti-aging cream linked to Oprah Winfrey and made by SkinMedica. The product was described as using specialized fibroblast cells to help grow and renew skin. The company states that these cells are used in research to support skin regeneration. However, some conspiracy theories suggest that celebrities rely on such products to maintain a youthful look, connecting the use of these lab-grown cells to broader claims about elite practices, though these ideas remain unproven.
I'm going to put a little on your hand.
I'd do that. Oprah did.
Yeah, Oprah did it. All right, so here, we're going to rub it right in.
How come it's red?
I'll show you in a sec, Steve. So this is made from growth hormones of human...
Look, the wrinkles has just disappeared. I can't even ball my hand up.
So it's made from human foreskin. I'm sorry, Steve.
You done sat up here and squirted somebody's private parts in my damn ears. What you laughing at?
I'm sorry.
This your last time on the show. This your last time. Not coming up in.
Chris Hansen also looked into these claims while investigating Epstein and reached the same conclusion as others did reportedly at times. There was more than just sexual crimes happening on Epstein's island, allegedly reported. Dozens of emails released by the DOJ suggest that Epstein was interested in using genetic engineering to harvest cells from children and clone them. These cells would then be sent as a form of medication to his friends with promise they would help them stay young, allegedly claimed.
A billionaire freakazoid. Yes. And part of his deal, he's in prison in jail up in Canada, waiting, charges all over the globe. But his deal was that he would allegedly impregnate young women in the Bahamas, where he had a huge home, and then have them get abortions and harvest their stem cells of the fetuses to inject in himself as the fountain of youth. And we get into this in that documentary. And was Epstein involved in that sort of activity? I don't know.
That's where, and again, we just have to look at what we have and know what we don't yet.
Yeah.
But it's a question.
Yeah,
when you
it's
look at the
it's
context
a legitimate
of the jerky
question.
stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at what other billionaire guys have done, were they in contact somehow? I mean, obviously, there are some people who are in the concentric circles of associates.
Katt Williams spoke on the Joe Rogan podcast and suggested that some producers and powerful figures in the industry use their positions to recruit young men and women for other elites. He also named Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein as the two main figures during the discussion as well.
This is why those one world people exist, because it's a very powerful concept to have and far too lucrative and beneficial to not. Everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like these guys knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment has not existed throughout history.
Right. Supporters of these theories also point to hidden symbolism in Ellen DeGeneres' show, which some interpret as an effort to normalize claims about Epstein's island there allegedly. At one point, these elites even tried to get Katt Williams to join them. In a recent interview with Theo Vaughn, Katt said that he was shocked to see just how powerful Harvey Weinstein actually was. Allegedly, Weinstein offered Katt the opportunity to be with any actress he wanted. These actresses were available to Harvey Weinstein on speed dial, and the only thing Williams had to do in return was stay silent and help them recruit more young men and women. Fans aspire. Epstein was said to operate as a scout himself, yet hundreds of victims tied to powerful circles suggest he did not act alone. Reports claim he relied on multiple recruiters who approached and influenced individuals on his behalf. Ghislaine Maxwell was identified as one of these recruiters, and some believe others were never arrested or formally charged. One reason that Ghislaine Maxwell was eventually caught was the large scale of her actions. She recruited hundreds of underage individuals for Jeffrey Epstein. She would look for vulnerable teenagers who needed money or help and present Epstein as a savior who wanted to help them. Multiple victims have said the worst part about Ghislaine Maxwell was how she targeted people when they were at their lowest and used their pain to pressure them into things they did not want in many cases.
She had no remorse in her voice. Ghislaine has no soul. And you know yourself what I've been through trying to take her down. And the reason why I've had to go through that is because she's a dangerous human being. She will reoffend, and reoffend. These people never stop, ever.
So you were abused by both of them in your very first encounter?
Yeah, both of them. I was abused by Ghislaine and Epstein, and it broke my heart. I don't mean to sound sexist in any way, shape, or form. I don't hate men. I'm not a man hater, but I expected it from a man, but I didn't expect it from a woman. And so, I think that's what still hurts me the most to this day is that, as a mom, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, I couldn't imagine putting someone through what she put me through. And yeah, I think that's what hurts most.
Recently, one interview of Ghislaine Maxwell went viral recently. In this interview, Ghislaine Maxwell confirmed what many people have been saying along. Jeffrey Epstein was silenced so elites connected to him would not get exposed. So far, more than 400 powerful individuals from all over the world have been exposed for their connection to Jeffrey Epstein trafficking ring. Imagine how many more would have been exposed if Jeffrey Epstein had not been allowed to speak out. 3 million redacted files contained this information, and that is not even half of what recovered.
Fox News alert, the Department of Justice just dropped last month's jailhouse interview with Epstein Madam Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's a doozy. First, she doesn't think Epstein killed himself.
So you think he did not die by suicide, given all the things we just talked about?
I do not believe he died by suicide. No.
And do you believe that Do you have any speculation or view of who?
No, I don't.
And what about Epstein's infamous client list? Did he even have a list?
You never observed, or you never saw any sort of list or black book or a list of individuals who, linked to certain masseuses or
Absolutely
anything
not.
like that?
Absolutely no. There is no list. I'm not aware of any blackmail. I never heard that. I never saw it, and I never imagined it.
The list doesn't exist? So flight manifests don't exist? The surveillance tapes don't exist? The bank records don't exist? Well, what about Trump? The media spent the last couple months trying to smear him as Epstein's predator pal.
I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
And did you ever hear Mr. Epstein or anybody say that President Trump had done anything inappropriate with masseuses or with anybody in your world?
Absolutely never. In any context.
A good portion of the interview focused on Bill Clinton. Author Daniel Halper told Primetime Clinton was romantically involved with Maxwell. Would Ghislaine sell out her old flame? And she was asked about Bill and said he never did anything inappropriate and that Bill never went to Epstein's island.
There's also claim whistleblowers like Katt Williams are being silenced allegedly now. Katt Williams said the elites are starting to catch up to him, and it's only a matter of time before they get him too.
I infiltrate the Illuminati, find out what the fuck they got going on, get the information, run back to y'all, tell y'all everything I know. That's my motherfucking job. But I don't know how many more times I'm gonna be able to sneak in there. Thanks to Shannon Sharp and 90 million views, I can't sneak very often. So while I was in there this last time, knowing that my last report might be my last report, I went in there and I got information for everybody. Look at my white friends. Us too? That's right, white secrets.
To give you an idea of how much information is being hidden from the public, there are emails released by the DOJ where Epstein is clearly talking about victims to other elites. However, none of the files name these individuals. In fact, hundreds of thousands of files are completely redacted. So, the people responsible won't be outed.
Question: which one do you prefer, lewd and lascivious conduct or procuring minors for prostitution? I suppose lewd and lascivious conduct. I would prefer lewd and lascivious conduct with a prostitute if possible. That exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on May 23, 2008 is part of some 18,000 emails from Epstein's personal Yahoo account obtained by Bloomberg News.
The emails, which suggest the inbox was most active between 2005 and 2008, include messages spanning 2002 to 2022. Epstein died in 2019, and emails received after that are largely spam or marketing offers. Overall, the emails offer a raw look into the disgraced financier and sex offender's world. While this inbox wasn't the only one he used, the newly uncovered emails do suggest how central Maxwell was to his life, something that contradicts her telling of events. She's characterized herself as a former girlfriend and property manager for Epstein, not someone with eyes into his vast influence machine or sex trafficking operation. She's currently serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. Maxwell was central to curating Epstein's inner circle, according to these emails. In some emails, she's organizing visits with the likes of Sergey Brin and his then-girlfriend Anne Wojcicki.
Despite her crimes, it is claimed that Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a minimum security prison and reportedly given certain privileges, including access to a puppy. One inmate at the facility has said her experience there appears very different from that of other prisoners, and that she is treated in a noticeably separate way. It is also said she showed no remorse when victims appeared on television and spoke emotionally before Congress. She was described as having little reaction while listening to their testimonies. As discussions about the release of the files continue, tensions around the case remain high.
I know for a fact she's getting special treatment.
Les Trent spoke to Sam Mangle, a prison consultant who has 3 clients at the same facility as Maxwell, the Bryan Federal Prison Camp in Texas.
Whether it's access to a laptop computer, which is unheard of, to visits where they lock down the camp and no one can leave their bunks while she's having visitors.
Allegations of other perks, according to the New York Times, include meals being delivered to her cell and being served bottled water while other inmates drink tap water, playing with service dogs, showering alone, and watching TV alone in staff-only areas. They even provided her with an umbrella to shade her from the hot Texas sun while she took her daily walks.
She's been given the freedom and liberties that the other inmates do not have.
Last July, Maxwell was moved from a medium security prison in Florida to the minimum security camp in Texas. This followed her meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. According to reports, fellow inmates at the facility were threatened with solitary confinement or transferred to a tougher penitentiary if they voiced complaints about Maxwell's perks.
They've been told from the day she got there, do not discuss her, do not put anything in writing, do not talk about her on the phone, do not make any trouble regarding Miss Maxwell, or we will move you to another location.
As more files come out and more people speak publicly, the story is still far from over. So, if you want to stay updated on everything that comes next, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything new revealed next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.